So with the holidays in full swing, Xbox Game Pass is not holding back, guys, as we have an insane amount of games coming this October and November. I'm Sonny, your host here at Xbox Central, and we start this off with a game that I played back many years ago, but it's really super underrated for an RPG, and that is South Park: The Fractured Butthole, set to arrive October 16th. Now, obviously, when you play a South Park game, you're not getting a really deep RPG. You're really not getting that, but what you are getting is a well-built title full of insane humor and non-stop laughs. The story here is that the darkness has spread across South Park, and the entire set of superheroes has to come combat this evil, and it's led by the Coon and friends. Now, this game is simple as far as it's just turn-based, but you get to customize your favorite South Park characters and choose some of their awesome skills, which this game has some awesome animations. I did beat this game in like a few days because I was so into it due to how good the story was. The gameplay really is fun, but it won't stand out much, as really the humor is really what wins here, especially if you're a really big South Park fan like I am. And even if you're not really like into like South Park itself, I really think you'll get into this and you'll get hooked on this franchise. It's been really well loved by players and the user reviews, and I personally couldn't recommend this more. Like I said, I beat it in just a few days. I think I beat it in around 40 hours or so. So it's not a super long game, but it's not too short either. It's really fun. This one does land here very soon on cloud, console, and PC. Our next game is Donut County. This is a physics-based puzzle game where you play as a hole driving raccoon who has swallowed up your friends and the homes of your friends, and you're basically doing silly stuff. Your goal is literally to swallow up all these homes in the game and grow a lot bigger. It's a unique game as far as uniqueness gets. It's really different. Well, I've never really heard of this game until today. Shockingly though, it has thousands upon thousands of very positive reviews. We're almost talking like 10,000 reviews. So it's been well loved, I guess, for its really quirky mechanics and gameplay. Donut County is set to arrive on October 17th on cloud, console, and PC. Now our next game is Ashen. This is a Souls-like open world game where the world is kinda ever changing as you progress. So you start to kind of make your way through the world and you'll be fighting some bosses. You'll encounter NPCs who you can actually invite and recruit to your town and bringing things like their crafting skills. Now combat is, like I said, it's Souls-like, but players have reported it's not very hard compared to other Souls-like games. So don't be intimidated if that's something that worries you. There is multiplayer, but it's kind of weird where you can actually like encounter other players passively and they can fight with you, or they can go about their business and do their own thing, but you can team up with another player if you're looking for that. The story here is also not really a lot to write home about, as really the goal of this game is to make your own home as a wanderer in search of somewhere to belong. It's a fascinating game that released back in 2019, but it didn't get a lot of love and it's gotten a lot of mixed reviews from other gamers. Either way, if you're in search of a relatively unique Souls-like game that's open world, you're gonna have it here with Ashen. This is set to arrive on October 29th on cloud, console, and PC. With that, Dead Island 2 is already on Game Pass, but it's now coming to PC Game Pass starting October 31st. As someone who does play on both consoles and PC, mostly consoles, but every once in a while I do dabble on getting some PC Game Pass love. I'll be looking forward to slaying some zombies here in a couple weeks on my laptop, so looking forward to this one. Another game that's already on Game Pass as well is Core Keeper, but this is coming to Xbox One. This is an awesome indie crafting game and it's heading to Xbox One on October 17th. Okay, so we all know that the newest Call of Duty is coming to Game Pass, and I'll talk about that more later in this video, but we got a set of announcements for some older Call of Duty games, and I'm excited to talk about this, starting with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. This is actually headed to the cloud on October 25th, so if you're someone who mostly plays in the cloud, you're going to have access to this soon. Then we have Call of Duty Warzone. Now this is the free-to-play COD, but this is going to be available via the cloud to play on October 25th, so that's huge for those who don't have a console, or maybe you're just mostly a cloud gamer. You're going to have full access to Warzone via the cloud starting soon, so I thought this was an awesome pair of announcements, especially if you're a Call of Duty fan, and I was really happy to see this. So we do have an interesting perk here for Monster Hunter Now. This is the mobile version of a Monster Hunter game. If you're a Game Pass user, you get this Ultra Hunting ticket, and then there's more perks available via mobile, so I thought this was really neat. One of the first games set to join Game Pass this October is Mechwarrior 5 Clans, and it's probably the biggest one for mech battle lovers. Now, Clans promises to build on the popular formula of Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries while introducing a brand new single-player storyline and a narrative-driven gameplay experience. But guys, that also gives you the choice to tag along with a friend in co-op mode as well. You will be back at fighting intense battles with a variety of challenging enemies through a vast, open-ended, procedurally generated world. Now, unlike most mech battle games out there, this one really seems to be more tactical in terms of combat, letting you plan ahead carefully and execute your attacks. Plus, it gives you plenty of customizable options to really give your mechs a personal touch and add a variety to the playstyle. Mechwarrior 5 Clans is set to arrive on Game Pass this October 16th. So guys, finally the wait is almost over. We have been talking about this for so long, but we're finally gonna get our hands on the biggest release on Game Pass, and that is Call of Duty Black Ops 6. And I'm sure you guys are gonna be just as excited as I am, because this game does look incredibly awesome, especially with its game-changing omnidirectional movement system, which might just change the FPS genre for good. We've already seen it in action with brief multiplayer tests that we got to have earlier, and I gotta say, it was pretty fun. And to be honest, although it did take me a little bit, of time to kind of wrap my head around it, I think I was more excited about the campaign as well, which looks like it's hitting some serious topics, putting you in charge of some really high stakes missions. And from what I know, we are getting our hands on also these 16 brand new maps for multiplayer, with some classics making a return from the previous games. And guys, we're also going to be seeing the action-packed co-op zombie mode making a grand return, so there's really a lot to get excited about. This one is set to be coming October 25th as a day one Game Pass release. During this past Tokyo Game Show, Microsoft announced that it was bringing one of the better RTS series, Starcraft, to Game Pass, and we're going to be getting Starcraft 2 and Starcraft Remastered. Now, the multiplayer is already free for everyone, but the Game Pass edition will let you enjoy their campaigns in their full glory. Now, the remastered version is set to bring back the original story alongside its expansion Brood War, and it's also great for both new and old players alike because it does enhance the visuals to Ultra HD, it improves the controls, all while keeping its inventive level design and really memorable characters alive. Really excited for this one, as this will be one of our first titles that we see in November. Now guys, Starcraft 2 on the other hand offers 3 awesome campaigns. We have Wings of Liberty, Legacy of the Void, and the Heart of the Swarm, and this is alongside the new Nova Covert Ops mission pack, which includes over 70 high-stake missions. And on top of that, you can play with friends in co-op commander mode as Raynor, Swan, Zagara, Karax, and many more. It's pretty awesome that they still care about Starcraft all these years later, especially enough to give players another chance at this awesome series. Both of these games are coming to Game Pass on the 5th of November. Speaking of remasters, Goat Simulator is coming to Game Pass with its brand new remastered version. Now, we had the original as well as the latest Goat Simulator 3 on Game Pass, but this one's going to be the third one to hit the service, and this is going to be the definitive one for players who want to enjoy the chaotic adventure of this maniac goat with improved lighting, enhanced gameplay mechanics, smoother animations, and bug-free mayhem. Now, with the remastered edition, you'll get all the DLCs from the original unlocked, so you don't have to waste your time or money or anything other than really just kicking humans right in the butt in the meanest way possible. So if you're looking for a game that's just purely absurd, yeah, gonna be a ton of fun, this is the one to go with. This one will be dropping on Game Pass on November 7th. So we have one of the biggest entries this 2024 in terms of both game world and popularity, and I'm talking about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, the latest addition to the most realistic flight sim series. And guys, it's not just going to be big, it's also going to be more realistic, adding a ton of new features, enhancements, aircrafts, and my favorite real-life based aerial missions. These include search and rescue operations, aerial firefighting, cargo deliveries, air ambulance, and even construction missions. And to make things even better, guys, Flight Simulator 24 promises to make the world feel more dynamic with wildlife, marine creatures, environmental events like tornadoes, random avalanches, changing seasons, and so much more. We will be able to perform some amazing stunts as well with different aircrafts, and I think all of this sounds pretty awesome. And since it is coming from Microsoft, we are going to get this as a day one Game Pass title when it arrives on November 19th. This brings us to one of the most, at least for me personally, one of the most anticipated games of this entire year. A lot of us on Game Pass have been waiting for this. We're talking about Stalker 2. This upcoming FPS survival game looks absolutely stunning, and at least from the trailers, it really just gives some oomph that just kind of gets you excited. The environments look more spooky and unsettling than the last. Then you have this dark world that's filled with all sorts of strange creatures, monsters, gruesome mutants, and even hostile factions, but it's coming with more challenges. The combat has also been leveled up. We've got new weapons and advanced gear to fight back and survive in a very unforgiving world, and the gunplay definitely looks much more intense and impactful. You will also be able to get help from other survivors. That is, guys, if they don't end up backstabbing you. Plus, the game's got all the good survival stuff like gathering resources, looting, and managing your resources. This is one of my most hyped games of all of 2024, and this arrives on Game Pass on November 20th. Alright, so I've got some bad news for those who are football/soccer fans. The latest entry to the long-running football management series, Football Manager 25, has been delayed. Just a couple days ago, the developers announced that the game will not be coming on November 26th like they said. Instead, it's going to need an additional 4 months to make the game a little bit better per their standard. This will be set to release on March 2025, and it will be available as a day one Game Pass game when it comes out around that time frame. Now, if you guys are a fan of Metroidvania games like Hollow Knight and you've been waiting for that sequel to drop, well, I've got some news for you, some good news. The game Nine Souls, this epic action Metroidvania title, recently shook the genre with its Sekiro-like combat system, and it's finally coming to consoles. More importantly though, it's coming to Game Pass. This is really exciting because it's easily one of the best games in the genre that provides almost like Hollow Knight like platforming, and it's got some really awesome stunning visuals combined with the super popular Sekiro inspired parry system that really keeps you on your toes all the way through. This game is still a little bit even underrated, but trust me, this game's got a lot of real potential for you guys. This game is coming out. Nine Souls is coming on Game Pass on November 26th. Alright, so we got some big news for those who love maybe some cloud gaming who also have Game Pass, as Xbox will be announcing that players will soon be able to stream the games that they own even if they're not on Game Pass. And this has actually been confirmed by Xbox President Sarah Bond, which is huge because we've been hearing about xCloud since 2020, then again in 2022, but now with Microsoft introducing the ability to purchase games directly on Android from the Xbox Store from the 1st of November, it seems the perfect time to roll Xbox Cloud Gaming expansion as well. And according to the announcement, this expansion will be tested first by a selected group during the month of November before it makes its way to the public. And when it does come out, you guys will be able to stream thousands of games, hopefully the hundreds and thousands of games that you guys own, and you'll get to just game on them in the cloud, which I think is amazing and is finally like utilizing that powerful cloud tech that we've been wanting to see. This is a game changer and one that I'm really excited for. Finally, guys, we have the games leaving Game Pass. Good thing is none of these are crazy big games, but either way, I'm always sad or bummed to see games leave, but these will be leaving October 31st. And if you want the best games to play on Game Pass right now, the absolute very best, check out that video on the screen.